Surprise, surprise, it was Meghan Markle.
Prince Harry is refusing, it seems, to play along with Meghan Markle's games, and that's proven, especially for me, with this staged Dodgers video that has just been...
Single quotes as the interview nobody saw coming. For years, Prince Harry stood by Meghan Markle through every storm. Royal drama, relentless media scrutiny, endless headlines, labeling them rebels, victims, or villains, depending on the day. He defended her through it all.
They were at the softball and the kiss cam came on. And a lot of people have commented on this, but I want to comment on the specific technique. And
even when the world seemed against them when they were at the softball and the kiss. Cam came on, but lately, the story has taken a surprising turn. Something shifted. Now, in what's being called his most raw and revealing moment yet, Harry has finally opened up about what really went down behind palace walls and what Meghan actually did to him. And trust me, it's darker than anyone thought. People want him claim this is the first time he's spoken without holding back. And at last, their relationship's fissures are becoming apparent. The world has observed Harry's development.
So, you know, I miss the UK. I miss parts of the UK, of course I do. And I think it's really quite sad that I won't be able to show, you know, my children my
development from the playful, charming prince we once adored to the isolated, exhausted figure we see now. Yet, as one insider whispered to The Telegraph, he's now pulling things together. Interview.1.2.4./1.35, recognizing the control, manipulation, and deft reworking of his story for what it really was. And this conclusion is more painful than anyone could have predicted for someone who always puts on a brave face. Let's rewind a bit. This didn't happen overnight. It all began when Harry showed up to a private wellness symposium in California last week, an occasion to draw attention to the mental health of men. Before a journalist posed a question that struck too close to heart, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. It was an easy question. Have you ever experienced self-loss due to love? Harry hesitated. His smile wavered. Then followed a heavy sigh that virtually echoed through the hall. Yeah, he admitted. I used to be unable to identify the man in the mirror. I believed I was finding freedom, but sometimes freedom may seem a lot like a cage. A pin might have dropped. These unedited, honest, and hefty words went viral on the internet. Freedom can look a lot like a cage. Sherlock Holmes was not necessary to figure out who he was referring to. People online scrutinized every tone, every hesitation, as if attempting to uncover a secret he wasn't quite ready to divulge. Within hours, royal watchers were dissecting every syllable. Psychologists offered their opinions. Former aides whispered to tabloids. That's the closest he's ever come to admitting regret. One person even said to the Daily Mail, and honestly, it's easy to see why. According to people close to the Sussex circle, Harry and Meghan's relationship has reached a breaking point. One was seething behind their Montecito mansion's walls for months. During the tumult of their unsuccessful Netflix projects, the fractures began to show. Meghan wanted more. More documentaries, more brand deals, more luxury. Harry, he desired peace. Quiet. He's exhausted. One insider added frankly, he's wary of being used as the megaphone, the symbol, the husband who always agrees. He's starting to realize how much of his life he gave up attempting to protect someone who might never have desired saving in the first place. That's the stomach hit everyone can feel. For the longest time, Harry imagined he was the knight in shining armor rescuing Meghan from a cruel, outmoded institution. But now, slowly, painfully, he's learning he could have been the one who needed rescue all along. And this lucidity didn't arrive overnight, particularly as Harry observes the world changing all around him. It has gradually crept in. His family has moved on. His brother is doing well. Even King Charles seems to have softened, focusing more on legacy than familial feuds. Harry, meanwhile, is stranded. Not in London, not in LA, but in limbo, bookended by love. He says, "Oh, I love the two of us." However, insiders claim that Meghan is tightening her grip. She filters everything in their lives. Everything from the tasks he takes on to the people he converses with to his public remarks. She's worried he'll go off script. And that's just what he did at the summit, which apparently caused havoc in the background. Meghan's team reportedly started damage control as soon as the video went public. PR advisors called, journalists contacted, summit organizers quizzed. But the internet had already burst. It was referred to as Harry's slip of truth. And it was precisely that. The unreserved disclosure of the truth. And behind the scenes, Meghan was apparently outraged. She confronted him, one insider added, accusing Harry of being reckless of feeding the tabloids. But for the first time in years, he didn't back down. Harry seems to be pushing back quietly, but steadily. When you line it all up, his unexpected quietness during joint interviews, his solitary appearances at charity events, his new, quieter, reflective manner, it paints a picture of a guy starting to break free from an emotional chokehold. But it gets messier. Harry allegedly lingered behind at the summit for a private conversation with delegates. Immediately following that direct statement, witnesses also claim that he released another bombshell. When asked about his mental health journey, he responded, "Healing means telling the truth, even when it hurts people you love." Those remarks hurt deeply. It seemed like a covert confession to anyone who knew Harry's story. A guy divided between freedom and allegiance. The tabloids pounced instantly. Headlines screamed things like Harry's cryptic confession, hints at marital strife, and Prince finally reveals anguish behind Meghan marriage. But experts say there was very little exaggeration in the headlines. Harry's close pals have observed a significant change in his demeanor. He's withdrawn, contemplative, spending more time alone. He used to be the guy cracking jokes and buying the next round, a former military friend told the Mirror. Now, he just stares into his drink. He seems to be in a whole different place. As if that weren't devastating enough, he allegedly revealed something really unsettling to the same friend. "I miss being invisible sometimes." Just picture that. The prince who sold a palace for seclusion now, wishing he could disappear totally. This is the harsh reality. Harry's quest for freedom turned out to be the precise thing that kept him imprisoned. The worldwide interviews, luxury agreements, and documentaries that were meant to give him a purpose have turned into chains of cash and shame. Meghan is witnessing him fall apart. However, sources claim she is not concerned in mending the marriage. It's about saving the brand. She's scared. This new, honest Harry could shatter everything they've created. One Hollywood insider warned if he keeps talking like this, the veneer collapses. It's over once it splits. Which begs the question, is this the beginning of the end? Because Harry isn't simply conveying feeling. He's revealing truth. Truth entangled in fame about identity, control, and the price of love. The most unsettling aspect is that he is doing it in public. For the first time in years, every phrase feels like a man trying his hand at speaking without permission. And it's obvious that this is one uncontrollable truth bomb based on Meghan's response. The damage control, the terrified phone calls, and Montecito's anxious quiet. Harry was unable to stop talking once he got going. And what he said next? At that point, everything fell apart. If Montecito was shaken by his mild admission at the Wellness Summit, Meghan's response made them into a full-fledged earthquake. Millions of people watched the video in a matter of hours when it began to trend. According to insiders, Meghan went into meltdown mode, leaving PR advisors frantically trying to control the repercussions while phones rang nonstop. Her confidential secretary reportedly arrived into the Monaco estate to discover Meghan pacing barefoot across the marble floors, phone in hand, yelling orders. "Get it taken down? How doesn't matter to me? Flag it. Call the press team. Take action." But there was no stopping it. Harry's words, "Freedom can look a lot like a cage," had already made a name for themselves online. No polished joint statement or PR spin could make that go away. For years, Meghan had been the one constructing their narrative. Each headline, podcast, and camera angle was carefully chosen. But this time, she'd lost her grasp on the script. It drove her insane, according to those close to the pair. Meghan confronted Harry the instant he arrived home from the summit, and what followed was one of the most intense arguments they've ever had. She accused him of betrayal. One insider claimed Meghan told him he made her look manipulative, like some dominating, plotting wife. She stated he'd ruined everything they'd worked for. Harry, however, did not recoil. For the first time in a long time, he stood his ground. "I didn't ruin anything," he apparently assured her. "I was simply being honest." That one sentence, 6 little words, was like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline. Meghan stormed off, slamming the door so hard it rattled the chandelier. However, there was more to the real explosion than just them. It was also taking place on the internet. Royal watchers tore apart every move, every gesture, every phrase. Twitter threads, TikTok analysis, YouTube breakdowns, all zeroing down on the same issue. Harry's finally cracking. Even the British press, whom he had spent years fighting. Scented blood? The following morning's headlines were ruthless. Prince Harry's mysterious admission, problems in paradise, and the disintegration of the Sussex. Paradise, and the disintegration of the Sussex. Fairy tale. Freedom or regret. Harry spoke out, and for once he didn't appear irritated about it. According to a close friend, he really appeared relieved. It was like he was letting the truth breathe again. According to the acquaintance, it seemed as though Harry was finally acknowledging to himself that this wasn't what he had anticipated. Meghan, however, was not going to allow that story to prevail. She went into full-fledged PR warfare, enlisting the help of sympathetic reporters and hiring exclusive sources to produce damage control pieces in less than a day. Multi-publications produced stories painting Harry as emotionally vulnerable, misread, taken out of context. The turn was both spectacular and vicious. According to one account, Harry was just thinking back on his previous hardships. Another argued he'd been misread owing to weariness, but the audience wasn't buying it. The clips spoke for themselves. And when Meghan's staff sought to push the illusion that she and Harry were stronger than ever, users swamped postings with doubt. He looks miserable. She is no longer defending him. She's defending herself. The internet verdict was that freedom. He appeared trapped behind closed doors and things, or far worse than everyone thought. According to friends, Harry grew reclusive and would spend hours by himself in the yard or by the fireplace. He apparently stopped receiving calls from some of Meghan's Hollywood connections, separating himself from the glitzy circle that had appeared to characterize their new existence. He is beginning to see how alone he has become. One insider said he has no relatives to turn to, no old pals remaining, and for years the only voice in his ear was hers. That understanding hit him like a tidal wave. You can't unsee the illusion once it breaks, and you begin to doubt reality. According to various reports, Harry began quietly reaching out to people from his past, old army acquaintances, even a former royal aide who had always been close to him. It wasn't about reconciliation yet. It was about centering himself again, about remembering who he was before the hubbub. Meghan, meanwhile, was going downhill. Public opinion was changing. Netflix offers dried up. Spotify has already pulled the plug. And now, the one thing she believed she could rely on, Harry's loyalty, was starting to weaken. She reportedly started preparing what insiders refer to as her counterattack. A prominent magazine article intended to correct the record and reframe her as a misunderstood lady, once again caught in the whirlwind of misogyny and disinformation. It wasn't touching down. Hollywood wasn't jumping to her defense. Even previous allies, fashion editors, talk show presenters, and A-list friends avoided each other this time. The tide was shifting. The sympathy that had covered Meghan like armor has transformed into stillness. And in that silence, she started to unravel. During a late-night call, one employee allegedly heard her voice cracking. "For him, I sacrificed everything. And now he's depicting me like I'm the villain." But here's the deal. Harry wasn't doing that at all. He had no intention of ruining her. He was attempting to discover who he was. That following week, Harry attended a special veterans reunion in Santa Barbara. Meghan wasn't with him. he didn't bring cameras. Just a small event with men and women he'd worked alongside. People who knew him before the royal exodus, before the films, before the California light changed his existence into an illusion of freedom. Harry appeared emotional, even sad, according to witnesses. "You don't realize how lost you are until someone takes the compass away," he said to a small group of people. "I stopped being myself at some point, even though I believed I was acting morally." Everyone in the military community was astounded by the vulnerability of a man who had spent years in the spotlight after that unvarnished revelation spread like wildfire. This is the point at which everything comes full circle. Shortly after that, a journalist close to the royals delivered what can only be characterized as the last truth bomb. They disclosed that Harry had been secretly collaborating with a publisher on a new personal project behind Meghan's back. Not a documentary, not a memoir, something unvarnished, something intimate, according to reports. The effort focused on his identity rather than theirs. He was examining how your sense of self may be distorted by love, grief, and allegiance. Those who've seen early excerpts describe it as frighteningly honest. This time, he's not relaying Meghan's narrative. He's speaking for himself. And that more than anything else has her worried, because when the guy she once controlled finally starts speaking for himself, the illusion collapses forever. The story, the brand, and the fairy tale all start to fall apart. And Harry, for the first time in years, looks willing to let it. If you're shocked by what Harry is sharing, don't keep it to yourself. Smash that like button, press subscribe, share this tale, and comment below with your ideas. The truth is out, and the world is watching. And the world is watching.